On KUOW's The Record. Hi, I'm Bill Radke. Welcome to the show. Our first story today, the biggest refugee resettlement program in U.S. history happened in the 1980s. More than 1 million refugees came from Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. For many of those refugees in Seattle, it was hard to find a permanent home. Many children grew up in housing projects. If they were convicted of crimes, they could be deported even after they had served their sentences. That was the case for my next guest. Many Uch served 3 years for being an armed getaway driver in a 1994 robbery. Since then, he has been to the Supreme Court, received a governor's pardon. As of this month, he's a U.S. citizen, and he's helping people in situations similar to his. Mani, welcome to KUOW. Thanks for coming on.
Hello, Bill.
So 20 years, a Supreme Court case, a governor's pardon. What did it feel like to finally hold that certificate of citizenship?
Yeah, it's been such a relief. I never thought I would become a U.S. citizen because I was in limbo for over 25 years, waiting to be deported, and it happened. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we're going to explain that limbo and the change. Why is citizenship so important for you personally, Mani?
Yeah, I mean, First of all, I go see my dad for the first time in Cambodia, and also, you want the American dream is, to be able to vote and participate in, in federal jobs and so forth.
And you came here from Cambodia in the 1980s with your family. Will you tell us what your family's situation was when you made that journey to the U.S.?
Yeah, so I was born under the Khmer Rouge, and in 1979, when the Vietnamese army invaded Cambodia, my mother and my two older siblings escaped Cambodia into the jungle without my father. So my father was left behind, and so we were stuck in the jungle for a year. Then we eventually settled in the refugee camps for about 3 years. Then and immigrated to the U.S. And in 1985 we settled in the Seattle area, and we lived in public housing since 1985.
And what about your dad? Were you in contact with him?
Rarely. In the beginning, my mother thought my father died because of the separation, because we had no contact with him, and he also thought that the family died because it was tough in the jungle, and rarely anybody survived in the jungle. So.
And what was it like for you and your mother, your siblings, growing up in Seattle at that time?
Yeah, I think it's more tougher than for my mother, because the fact that she spent a lot of energy surviving the Khmer Rouge and the jungle and the refugee camps, and when she got to America, it was she's exhausted already, and when we got here, she's already in her 50s, and language barriers and so forth, wasn't able to do much. So we lived in public housing, and that's where I got into trouble growing up, and ran with the street, and I got into trouble when I was 18 and went to prison.
Yeah, you were arrested in 94 as part of a robbery, and you pled guilty to a felony charge. What happened there, Mani?
Yeah, so I was with a group of friends, and I was a getaway driver, and we did a robbery, and and we got caught, and I was sentenced to prison for being an accomplice.
Was anyone hurt in that robbery?
No one was hurt.
And at the time, immigration policy was that immigrants who are convicted of a felony are set to be immediately deported back to their home country, but Cambodia was not accepting any deportations. and that put you in that limbo we talked about, something called indefinite detention. Would you tell us what that was like?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so I got out of prison around the summer of 1997, and immigration picked me up right away into immigration custody. And by that time, my deportation case was over already, and I was ordered deported already. And so the detention itself was just meant to hold me until I get deported. But after a few months, we found out that we're going to be in serving life in immigration jail, which is really that is so wrong, because the fact that the phone calls to my mom, relative, and so forth, they just don't believe it. That how could America be this way, where there's no release date for somebody that's done their time.
Yeah, how many others were like you in this situation, caught in this kind of limbo?
Oh, there was. At that time I could not tell you, but there was hundreds and hundreds at that time, because it was just the beginning stage of the 1996 law that just passed. That there's folks from Laos, Cambodia was just stuck in overflow of immigrant detainees shipped to other states as well, because there was no room, and some of us are housed in even the county jail, because there was no there was only one immigration detention center at that time in Seattle.
Yeah, in 2001, the U.S. government reached an agreement with Cambodia for deportations, and a lot of folks caught in that limbo were deported. Did you think you were going to be deported at that time?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, that's it's kind of like hit you where, wow, I'm going to be deported, I'm going to be separated, and that's when really my activism started. Understanding that I belong here too. I don't know nothing about Cambodia, and the government should not be in charge of forcing a separation. If I want to visit Cambodia, that's my choice. But the government shouldn't be the one in charge of breaking, our family.
And what did you feel was at stake for you, Mani? What did you think deportation would be like for you if that happened?
It was. There was a time when I I just want to give up and just let that happen, right? But again, there's folks that are around me saying, we can't let this happen. You're our community, and we're gonna fight for change. Regarding trying changing the 1996 immigration law and so forth.
We're listening to Seattleite Many Uch. Grew up in Seattle. His family came from Cambodia in the 1980s. He served time for a felony and was in indefinite detention after that. And Many, you studied law while you were being held by the Immigration and Naturalization Service. You became a plaintiff in a U.S. Supreme Court case that ended indefinite detention. Now you're helping incarcerated people and people in the Khmer community who are at risk for deportation. What is the most rewarding thing about your work?
Yeah, I think it's basically, victory, right? There's one in a few, and we really celebrate that because the fact that not most of our cases end up the folks that we help they end up being deported, and so we celebrate it as much as we can, and also mobilizing the community to understand that cases can be reopened and so forth. Because not a lot of people that are facing deportation knows that maybe there's some technical error in the pleading and so forth, where you can go back and reopen the case and dismissed the deportable charges. And we hope people can seek attorneys regarding revisiting their old conviction and so forth.
And during the Trump administration, you founded the Khmer Anti-Deportation advocacy group. How are deportations in situations like yours still affecting the Khmer community? That's principally from Cambodia, but other places in Southeast Asia. How are these deportation situations affecting folks here in Seattle?
I think it's they're folks that are waiting to be deported are still scared or are not wanting to go, and our work is to basically give information to them, to the right attorneys, to the right immigration attorney, where they can actually, go back and revisit, their deportable cases. We gotten a lot of help from the Seattle Clemency Project, Northwest Immigration Rights Project, where they've been really a big part of this, because us, we're just mobilizing community, but the nitty and gritty part is the legal issues where they have to go into court with old cases.
And finally, Many, President Biden says he plans to make a lot of changes to the former president's immigration plan, including scaling back the enforcement powers of ICE, offering new pathways to citizenship for undocumented immigrants. What do you hope the Biden administration will do for immigration and for the Khmer community?
Yeah, we hope that the Biden administration will actually allow cases to reopen more easily, right? And limit where you have limit the number of aggravated felony that is on the list of mandatory deportable, and also allowed folks that have been deported, especially refugees, to be able to come back. And that's what we want out of it.
Many Uch is an organizer, an activist for the Khmer Cambodian community here in Seattle and for the formerly incarcerated. After decades of facing deportation, he officially became a U.S. citizen this month. Many, thank you for talking with us. Good to meet you today.
Thank you.